Walter Simmons had always believed he'd live to be at least 90. His grandfather had made it to 95, and his mother, Marjorie, lived a full life until 89, painting landscapes and hosting family dinners until her final months. But now, at 72, Walter was beginning to feel the subtle sting of his own aging. His back hurt more than usual. His memory faltered when he reached for common words, and sleep became increasingly elusive. One afternoon, after forgetting his neighbor's name for the third time that month, he stared out the kitchen window of his Florida home and thought, "What am I doing wrong?" Walter wasn't alone in this struggle. His best friend, Thomas Miller, who had turned 74, had been recently hospitalized with heart issues. When Walter visited him in the hospital, Thomas looked pale and tired, with tubes coming out of his arm and a distant look in his eyes. "They caught it early," Thomas muttered, "but the doctor said I need to make some serious changes. I thought I was doing okay." Walter nodded silently, the fear of his own decline gripping his chest. On his drive home he made a decision. He would not wait for illness to come knocking. He would take charge of his health, but to do that, he needed to know what was actually holding him back. The next day, Walter sat down with his daughter, Emily, who was a wellness coach in Austin, Texas. She had always been on his case about his habits but never pushed too hard. "Dad," she said kindly after he asked for her help, "you'd be surprised how many little things add up. Most seniors make the same mistakes without realizing how much damage they're doing." Walter leaned in, sipping his decaf coffee. "Like what?" "Well," Emily began, "let me tell you a few things that are less obvious but really critical." What followed over the next few weeks changed Walter's life. Emily didn't just give him tips. She walked him through how his daily routine was hurting him more than helping. And along the way, Walter discovered that small changes could make a big difference. Through his own story and the people around him, he began to understand 6 powerful mistakes many seniors unknowingly make, ones that stop them from reaching 85 or beyond. The first mistake Walter had to face was one he had always overlooked: the myth of slowing down as a reward. After retiring from his job as an electrical engineer, he thought he had earned the right to rest, watch television, take naps, and limit physical activity. But what he didn't realize was that this passive lifestyle was silently shaving years off his life. Emily convinced him to join a local walking group. First, he was resistant. He hadn't worn sneakers in years. But once he committed, Walter discovered that walking 4 days a week improved his balance, boosted his mood, and surprisingly, made his knees ache less. He met folks like Donna, a 69-year-old widow who power-walked 5 miles every morning, and Reggie, a 75-year-old former truck driver who swore walking helped him get off blood pressure meds. Being surrounded by energetic peers inspired Walter. He no longer thought of movement as punishment but as a lifeline. The second mistake Emily pointed out hit closer to home: poor social connection. Walter had been spending most days alone. Though his daughter called regularly and his neighbors waved hello, he had no meaningful connection outside of the occasional chat at the grocery store. Studies had shown that social isolation had the same health risks as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Emily encouraged him to join a community group. He chose a local woodworking club. It was intimidating at first. He hadn't worked with his hands since high school shop class. But soon he was building birdhouses and laughing with men and women who shared stories, advice, and even potluck dinners. His spirits lifted, and with them so did his energy. Walter hadn't realized how loneliness had been weighing on his body and mind. The third hidden mistake came in the form of over-medication and blind trust in prescriptions. Like many seniors, Walter had accumulated a shelf of prescription bottles over the years. Something for cholesterol, something for sleep, another for occasional anxiety. Emily helped him book a comprehensive medication review with a new doctor, one who specialized in geriatric care. To Walter's shock, 3 of his medications had overlapping effects and might have been contributing to his fatigue and forgetfulness. With careful monitoring, his doctor adjusted dosages, removed unnecessary pills, and introduced safer alternatives. Within weeks, Walter felt mentally sharper. The fog he had accepted as just aging began to lift. He realized that taking care of your health meant actively questioning and understanding every pill you put into your body. Then came the fourth mistake, one Walter had never considered: ignoring dental health. His gums bled occasionally, and he had put off his dentist visits, assuming it didn't matter at his age. But his daughter shared research showing the strong connection between gum disease and heart problems, even Alzheimer's. So, Walter went to see Dr. Henry Carlson, a gentle and informative dentist who immediately noticed signs of inflammation and infection. With deep cleaning and consistent hygiene, Walter noticed fewer headaches and an overall improvement in his health. He even got a new set of dentures fitted that helped him eat better and smile more confidently. Who knew teeth could hold the key to aging well? The fifth mistake surprised Walter: neglecting sleep hygiene. For years, he thought it was normal to wake up every 2 hours and toss and turn until dawn. He brushed it off as a part of growing old. But Emily explained that restorative sleep was critical for heart health, memory, and immunity. Walter made a few changes. He stopped watching late-night news, reduced caffeine after 2 p.m., and started reading before bed instead of scrolling his phone. He invested in blackout curtains and even tried guided meditation. Slowly, his sleep improved. He woke up less groggy and found he had more motivation to stay active during the day. It was like reclaiming a part of his youth. The sixth and perhaps most dangerous mistake was living without purpose. After retirement, Walter had felt unmoored. Without deadlines or projects, he drifted. But the human spirit needs meaning, Emily told him. Purpose didn't have to be grand. It could be small, consistent, and fulfilling. Walter started mentoring teens at the local community center, sharing life skills, work ethics, and even how to use power tools. The kids called him Mr. W, and he found their energy contagious. Their questions, their laughter, their curiosity, everything about them made Walter feel alive again. Every day he walked into the center, he wasn't just an aging man. He was a guide, a friend, a role model. As the months passed, Walter saw changes he never expected. His blood pressure stabilized. His cholesterol numbers improved. He had better balance and rarely felt dizzy. But more than anything, his outlook on life transformed. He was no longer waiting for the next medical crisis or the next sad headline. He was living with intention, joy, and hope. On his 75th birthday, his family gathered in his backyard, balloons floating in the breeze and grandchildren laughing in the pool. Emily raised a toast to Dad, who taught us that it's never too late to take charge of your life. Walter smiled, holding his grandson on his knee. He knew he still had challenges ahead, but he also knew he had uncovered the silent traps that so many